Get Kaylee some food then. Good morning, everybody who's at home today. We're gonna start in just a minute, and yeah. You just pour some coffee. Get Kaylee some food so that you're quiet. I know I'm surrounded by myself today. Hi, to Sarah. Yeah. Yeah. Now we talked about her purple pants and her purple flowers. We're all purple today. Oh. What are you doing? Is Sarah wearing purple also? Yeah. She's pinky purple. Yeah. But I love your socks. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You want some food? Yeah. You know what I sit down and eat? I can show you here. Yeah. Yeah. I love them. She does. She does. Yeah. I remember to show you that. That's the one that goes like this. All the time. He just like sticks his arms out and stuff. That must be fun. I think one day I'll just match it. I'll just fit. Got you. Okay. I guess she doesn't want to sit down and eat anything. Can I touch your nose? Yeah. You look kind of gross.
I always hate that.
Nah, I always hate that. Okay, you want to hug that? No.
Come in fast and go.
Sit on your butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's your week been, sir?
Fine.
How's your week been? Did you have state testing this week?
We started on Friday, yeah. Then we
Are you
continue
kids?
tomorrow and Tuesday. They're just long days. The only time I saw them was when they were testing. I mean, that was our whole day.
Wow.
So we came in, they ate breakfast, and then we started testing. And then the second we stopped, they went to lunch.
If you sit on
Then we
your
came
butt.
back, went to the bathroom, and then they
You sit
tested.
on your butt?
And then they were late for specials because Saturday went so late. And then they went to specials and they went home. So,
Wow.
yeah. So tomorrow we'll be doing that too. Yeah. It's terrible.
One time I remember I was in 5th grade and I had been sick through the week of testing. And I came back and I think that I finished like the whole test in like 2 days. So I was like, I didn't go to class, I didn't do anything. They just stuck us all in this one room, everybody that missed.
Yep.
And we all had our own personal Kleenex boxes because we were still all recovering.
Oh.
And like we didn't go to recess or anything. It was like,
That's terrible. Yeah, they at least, I mean, they still get lunch and recess and specials, but that's really it. The rest of the day
Right.
is testing. And it's hard. They're all like squirmy after lunch. They were hard
yeah.
to calm down to, hey, no, but really, you need to be quiet now. But no, but say, okay, I'm gonna have to start getting kind of stern with you in a second.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. If you talk, you lose your test. And maybe everyone else is.
Yeah.
Park test.
Mm-hmm.
Party.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do the park test, like we did it for 2 weeks in my building. We did it the first week. I didn't have to do it the second week because I'm part-time.
Nice.
Like all the time.
Yeah. Our building's been testing. This will be our 3rd week. I'm our last.
Do you guys do it all day, or do you have to do like test a day?
It has been all day. Like Friday was all morning and then all afternoon. Tomorrow for my kids, because we have Spanish, so tomorrow's our Spanish test, which the worst part about this is that since the Spanish test is a pilot this year, they're just not even gonna score it.
Oh, really?
So we have to go through all of this
And
and
then
I had to
look at
cover
the
the walls
results.
and proctor and all of this, and they're not even gonna score it. They're not even gonna touch it.
Oh, man.
thank you. And they let us know that really late too. So I was like, so all this like last week or so that I've been doing a bunch of test prep, probably could have just kept going with teaching since this test doesn't matter anyway.
Right.
Our test that will matter is at the end. So I'll do test prep then.
Yeah. That's how our juniors feel about it, because state testing used to end your sophomore year. And this year juniors had to take the test.
Why?
Because, I don't know,
I think it's fun to test children.
because, and I think the seniors had to take a different test, CMAX or something like that. And
Yeah,
they're
probably
testing,
they're like
they're testing everybody now. But we had like 600 opt-outs. Wow. In our school, Cherry Creek High School had thousands of opt-outs. This is overall, but I know the day I proctored juniors, I was supposed to have a room of 30 and I only had 15 show up.
Wow.
So,
We only had one.
and the 15 that showed up were like, the ones that were like, so, this score goes on our transcripts, right? And we were like, yeah, it does. Like, so are the colleges gonna look at the score? And we're like, yes, they will. Well, but will it mean anything to the colleges? Probably not. But it will someday. And you're like, okay. But then we went over the rules about how they're not allowed to talk anyway, and they're here, and they might as well just try to hurt us. All that stuff. But they were so, the ones who showed up were clearly there because they were like concerned about the transcript only. Like,
Right.
I don't want to.
Right. Yeah, they don't want it to look bad. Yeah, it's interesting.
I remember loving that it was over sophomore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad if
The
they
juniors
went
were mad.
It's like 3 tests. Remember, we got to just not come to school because there was testing. So we got mornings
Right.
off.
But
And
then,
then come to
like,
school for afternoon.
I feel like that's also not fair, because don't they still have to do ACTs and SATs?
Yeah, they do.
That's
The
not
juniors are
fair.
being hit really hard.
That's why, I think that's why it stopped before, because then you took a different kind of.
Exactly.
And the
That's what-
ACT and SAT have like way more reputable standing among universities across the,
Right, then like,
the state. or
here's this new
state-
test we're just trying out. We don't really know what it means. Yeah, well, in my kids, we test now and then, I think the end of April, then we have our second round of park, we have our reading tests, so we have to do DRA, and I have to do EDL testing, because I have to test them in both languages, and so, that takes me weeks. So, and I have to pull each individual kid and do tests, and then we'll have a district interim as well. So district interim, final part, DRA, I'm basically done teaching.
Who called you a teacher?
I am a test proctor, thank you.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Special.
well, administrator actually, that time instead of proctor.
Congratulations. Kelly, do you want to come sing with us? Yeah. Come here.
Yeah. That's what I feel too. Yeah.
Feel free to scoot your chair wherever you want it. You got like your place. You
Hey,
Like-
what is it?
Sprawl out
can lay on the
over
floor.
several chairs.
Hey,
We'll
you
just
want to
like
sing with us?
do this and make a triangle.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Oh, except for colors.
Oh, except for your coffee's out of ours.
I should fix it. Okay, we're good.
Did you have any songs in mind this morning?
No, whatever you like.
Well, you've got your special guitar here, so I want to sing something you'll music to.
Yeah. This is more for the teaching, but yeah, whatever is in there.
We have Higher Ground, I Am Resolved.
Put a
And
flipping
just randomly
smooth stuff.
reading titles. There's a lot
Yeah,
of songs
I
in
mean,
there.
pretty much whatever.
Most of what you pick is up in there usually.
Oh, yeah. Suggestion. How this world is not my home.
Of course, that one we don't have.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's okay. Let's do, there's no two ways about it.
Sweet.
Cool. Page 3. There's no two ways about it, everybody online.
I don't know the song. So
Oh.
1, 2, 3.
No two ways about it when you labor for the Lord. His way is the only way, none other can you afford. There's a right road, a wrong road, which way you heading two ways about it. When you labor for the Lord, you must decide or be denied. Don't give your love to him half-heartedly. Go all the way. Stand up and say, gonna live my life for the one who died for me. Hallelujah. There's no two ways about it when you labor for the Lord. His ways, the only way that can you walk forward. There's a right road or a wrong road, which way you headed for? There's no two ways about it when you labor for the Lord.
That is
Oh,
difficult.
you're okay.
Okay.
All right. What? I don't know how the melody goes, but I know the chorus to Victory in Jesus. You guys know the melody?
I think that is. What's that page?
Page 7.
The chorus is.
I know.
Let's start on the chorus and we'll do verse 1.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Sorry.
Oh, victory in Jesus, my Savior, forever. He sought me and bought me with his redeeming blood. He loved me ere I knew him, and all my love is due. He plunged me to victory beneath the cleansing flood.
I heard about his healing, of his cleansing power revealing, how he made the lame to walk again, and caused the blind to see. And then I cried, dear Savior, come and heal my broken spirit. And somehow honor came and brought to me the victory. Oh, victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. He sought me and bought me with his redeeming blood. He loved me ere I knew him, and all my love is to him. He plunged me to victory beneath the cleansing flood.
Do the first verse a little quicker.
I heard an old story, how a Savior came from glory, how he gave his life on Calvary to save someone like me. I heard about his groaning, of his precious blood's atoning. Then I repented of my sin and won the victory. Oh, victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. He sought me and bought me with his redeeming blood. He loved me ere I knew him, and all my love is to him. He plunged me to victory beneath the cleansing flood.
I decided to take it up a notch.
Thank you. Thank you.
Got the bass voice in, get the soprano voice in.
That's good. I'm glad you guys like found the high note because I can't sing that high.
Man, I can't sing that low before I was like, ah.
It's very good. Okay, should we do one more?
Sure.
Yeah? Which one do you want to sing, Kaylee? She pointed to the old rugged cross, but I don't know that one, Kaylee.
I looked up Kelly. I don't got it either.
Then we won't do that one. Let's pick a different one, baby. Let's do. I'm trying to remember what you. Do you have the music to Lily of the Valley?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. That's what we're going to practice at. What are you doing, silly bear? You're just being silly. Okay.
Where's that?
Oh, I'm sorry, page 25.
Keep it.
Give me 1 second.
I have found this friend in Jesus. That's where I usually start. I'm not.
So you guys probably want it up there.
That's probably where these girls were. I'll think of
Find a friend in Jesus, he's everything to me. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. The lily of the valley, in him alone I see all I need to cleanse and make me fully whole. In sorrow he's my comfort, in trouble he's my stay. He tells me every care on him to roll. Hallelujah, he's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. He will never, never leave me, nor yet forsake me here, while I live by faith and do his blessed will. A wall of fire about me, I've nothing now to fear. With his banner he my hungry soul shall fill. And sweeping us to glory to see his blessed face, where rivers of delight shall ever roll. Hallelujah, he's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He's the fairest of 10,000 to my soul.
You think you're by yourself again?
That one you got.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Here, I'll move. You got your magnet and your songbook, and now we're going to pray, okay, Kaylee?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to be quiet. Okay, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for all the opportunities we have coming up this summer and fixing up our house and making it a nice place to have fellowship and continuing to have it be a nice place. And so I just want to thank you for taking care of all the organizing and planning that's going into that, and just helping us to finance that and just everything that's going into it. Father, I just want to thank you, and we're grateful that we've had some of these opportunities with refinancing our house and all these things, just to make it a little easier to make this a nice place for everybody. So I want to thank you and praise you for that, God. I also want to lift up to you James this morning, and just thank you for
working in him to heal him up in the name of Jesus Christ, and just that whatever is passed over him can just be gone and healed up, and that he can still have his spring break to be productive, and that time is not stolen from him, and that he can just, this resting time that he has right now is just exactly what he needs to just get healed up and be better before the blink of an eye, and we just thank you for that. I also want to thank you for Kaylee, and how she's growing up so big, and thank you for also healing her little sniffly nose, and that doesn't progress into some more defined illness, and we just thank you for keeping your protection around her in all things, and protecting her at daycare, and protecting her just where she is, and helping her grow. I also want to thank you for Baby Squishy, and just continuing to develop healthy, and just that the trip to New Orleans, can't say that, is a safe one, and that your protection is around all the Morales family as they travel upcoming here, and especially for Baby Squishy, and just that there are no concerns or cares or complications while they're out of town. Just that everything has to be perfect for that. And so God, thank you for that. Thank you that we have healing available, and by His stripes we are healed, and especially as we approach Resurrection Sunday, just knowing that we can walk around remembering the accomplishments of Jesus Christ, and that He died for us, and that we just have that in our hearts, in our minds, and that we are bold to speak that to other people as well. So, God, thank you for that. I also just want to pray for everybody who is not at fellowship this morning, and just that their internet service is uninterrupted. Sorry. That's so cheesy. Sorry. Just that wherever they are this morning, that they're being blessed by what they're doing, and having a good time, and that you're taking care of them. So thank you for all of those folks, God, and God, thank you for all these students of ours as they endure through the tests that they had to take and are continuing to take. And I know at least in my school they get like 2 weeks off of testing, and then we have to start end of the year testing. So yeah, God, just thank you for giving these kids patience and endurance, and giving all the teachers patience and endurance as well, and that hopefully the government and whoever's sort of mandating all this stuff can find some clarity, and just asking that your hand is in this situation as education field is changing, and we can just really remember to do what's best for children, and what's best for their development, and helping them grow into strong, smart, healthy adults. So thank you for that. And that's all I'm going to pray for this morning, God. Thank you so much. I love you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
And I just want to thank you so much for, I prayed the function that we're having in New Orleans, Father. And just thank you for working with our finances such that we can enjoy ourselves there without having to worry about where we're going to get the money to take care of the time that we're off work. And I just thank you also for just taking care of the little details that we have planned for Sergio's friends coming to visit, and that we can have, again, the finances to show them a good time and enjoy their company, Father. I thank you also for the many plans and decisions that we have to make regarding our new baby coming, and I just thank you for just working within us to be able to make the hard decisions and the tough decisions that we both may not see eye to eye on. And I just thank you for working within that, so that whatever we end up deciding, that you have blessed that decision, and that can be acted upon in faith. And I just thank you for those things in Jesus Christ.
I thank you for this upcoming week, and for my little kiddos as they go through the rest of their testing, and that you can just give them strength and peace as they do their best, and that they can still feel energized and excited about coming to school, knowing everything that's ahead of them. And thank you for just giving me the right words to say to them, and the right things to do to help them stay in control of their bodies and their minds. And thank you for my administration and that they can really be on board with each other and have strong communication, and that can then flow over into the rest of the school. And thank you that my debit card comes in time by Friday. And thank you for taking care of the dogs while we're gone, and that they can be happy and healthy and protected from anything outside of the fence and inside of the fence, and that they can just be completely fine until we get back. And thank you for safe travels as we do a lot of flying this next week. And thank you for all the believers that we're about to go see, and that you can just bless their hearts for welcoming us in, and that can just be a really sweet time to get to spend with them. And just thank you for my dad and brother and their relationship, and that they can have peace with each other and with themselves and just live their lives for you. And so just thank you for all of these things, and just how you always take care of everything. In the name of Jesus Christ.
Sarah, will you please speak in tongues and interpret?
Morosho the Rekilini Moderation Deka, and a Murusho de Liamana Kalanosho de Kanadusho Deka, and a Murusho de Lamako, Shumbara Garish, the Kinamaka Rusho Deka. My children, I love you with a strong and a fierce love. Come unto me boldly with everything that's on your hearts or on your minds, for I have the answers for you, and I will give you peace.
Janelle, would a prophecy?
No, my dear ones, that I do tenderly love and care for you, that I am always mindful of you, and I always have your best interest on my mind, so that you can just trust in me and you can come boldly to me in your time of need, knowing that I do have everything that you need to not only stand, but be able to stand strongly in the face of adversity. For this world is not your home, and I have taken you out of it and placed you separately within my own household and upon my right hand.
Dear God, just thank you so much for those words of comfort and exhortation, and that this world is not our home. Knowing that we have such a great inheritance coming up, and I'm just so thankful that we can hear directly from you, God, and that you're always just loving us no matter what we do, and so and forgiving us. So thank you, God, for those things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Cool, so
I'm gonna turn the screen now,
actually,
or unless you want to move.
no.
Okay. Sergio is teaching.
Okay, so I'm actually going to do two very short but very separate teachings.
Okay.
One of them is kind of a music thing that, in my opinion, okay, so it's not, one of the things about this first teaching is that I'm operating very heavily under the premise that we are all under the same worldview that God created the earth. Because that's the one connection that I don't think I could make this point very clearly to people who don't believe that. But I see in music evidence that God created the earth. And it's very clear to me. But you have to accept that premise that God did create the earth, that all this stuff comes from Him. Otherwise, it's just like, oh yeah, that's cool. But to me, it's like, wow, that's intelligent design.
Yeah.
So.
I love Jesus for intelligent design.
Well, that's the thing is, if I were to say it to somebody who didn't believe, then it would have logical fallacy, and that I would have all this evidence and then go, because God created the earth at the end, and they would go, well, that didn't prove that God created this. It's just some cool thing in music.
Right.
But
Okay, well, I'm gonna grab my power cord for the computer. It's about to die.
okay, so I was kind of hoping like some of the math guys would be here, like Andrew and Zach, but they're not here, so we're gonna have to. What matters And then after about, and when somebody would mess up and accidentally sing another note with it, the choir director, whoa, you get out of here, you suck. Making noise, you know? They would cut it out. But after about 200 years, they got so tired of that same thing that somebody would screw up and accidentally sing the wrong tone. And they're like, hey, that doesn't sound like noise anymore. That sounds like music now. So they would let him play. So now there's harmony in music. And the first one was actually octaves. So these are actually the same pitch, but very quickly from octaves keeps fourths and fifths. And those are the only harmonies that we have in music. And this was the fullest harmony that they would allow. And then, like, oh man, that's great. And that stayed for about 200 years. So then around 1500, they added another note. So now there's 3 notes being sounded. And that, oh, cool, okay. I didn't practice the guitar, so. Full chords. Is this, and again, when they first switched from unison to the very first harmony, if somebody tried that tone with it, they'd be like, oh, you in the back, that's noise, get out of here. Because it sounds to their ear, again, too dense, like too much stuff at once. Like if you take the piano and just mash the keys, it's just too many notes, too dense. That's what I mean by dense harmony. So after a while, they got 3 notes all sounding together. And this is about where popular music is now on the radio for us. Our composers that are doing their, the like real strict theoretical stuff, they're doing real weird crap with like a bunch of different tones all in it. But the things we listen to on the radio are very close to Mozart and Handel and like the simple guys, the guys that didn't have real thick, dense harmonies. They had real simple harmonies. And they were cool with that for about 100 years. So it's getting a little quicker now. Instead of 200 years for it to add harmony. Somebody adds, instead of 1, 3, 5, they add a 7 to it. And again, at first, it sounds like noise to them until they become acclimated to what they're used to. They get to that, they add the 7. And that goes on for about 100 years. And this guy Beethoven comes in and tries to add a 9. That song was considered, they said, oh, poor Beethoven, he's gone deaf. He's gone mad. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore. Because it sounded like noise to them when it came out, because it had a new harmony. It was the next harmony. It had that tone sounded like noise to them. It was too dense of a harmony. So over time, we see the same pattern of it sounds like noise, and then we get used to it, so then we just incorporate it into our music. And now we've got real dense harmonies that sound beautiful to us. It sounds like, like spice or color. These dense harmonies are okay to our ears because we've been hearing these harmonies, but when you look at what tones got added over time, you notice a pattern. They were all odd numbers. First the ones and 8s were octaves. Octaves are the same as 1s. 3s came next, or 5s and 4s came next, but 4s, they're basically inverted 5s. 1s and 5s, and then 3s came along. So 1, 3, 5, and then 7 came, and then 9 came, and 11, and 13, and so on. And just to eventually, you are basically just mashing the keys on the piano and hearing all these tones. But they become incorporated with music, and they start to sound good to us. So that's cool. So if you listen to jazz when you're real young, it sounds like noise to you. But as we've gotten older and we've been listening to music for longer, now this stuff, it doesn't sound like noise anymore. It doesn't sound like too dense of harmony anymore because our ear is acclimated to it. So then how did I pick 1s, 3, 5s, and 7s, and 9s? Well, when we look at sound itself, right? Sound is measured in frequency and amplitude. Okay, so we've all seen the little sine graph kind of thing. One cycle is when it goes. So amplitude, this is low amplitude. This is loud amplitude. That's the height. Frequency would be this is a lower frequency. This is a higher frequency. That's how quick it comes back. Okay, so that doesn't really matter. But all that matters is that Sound is measured by frequency and amplitude, and we labeled tones. Like this string is called A440. A440 is called 440 because that's the time it takes it to go up, down, and back to the beginning. So that's one cycle. It does 440 cycles per second. It's 440 hertz. 440 hertz is what we hear. This, it's the loudest frequency in that sound. We labeled this A440 because that is the loudest frequency in the sound. It is not the only frequency in the sound. We're hearing a lot of other frequencies in the sound. Now, when we look at the math of it, so now we're going to just set music aside for a second, just talk about math. We're going to do two different ratios here. One of the ratios is doubling. So if you take 1 and double it,
2,
double that,
4,
double that,
8,
and then double that.
6.
Okay, 2, 4, 8, 6, that's easy to do. Now we're going to do one called x plus 1, which is weird at first sounding, but it's real simple. 1 times 1, then 1 times 2, times 1 times 3, 1 times 4. So we keep the same beginning number, and we're going to use 110. 110 times 1 is 110. Okay. 110 times 2. Good. 110 times 3. 340. 110 times 4. 440. Okay, good. So when we take A440, suppose we want to find octaves of A, we use the ratio of 2 to 1. We can double them to find the ones higher than it. We can half it to find the ones lower than it that I don't have on the guitar but that are on the piano. A110 is the first A you hear. So you start with A110. And you want to find other octaves of A, you go A110, 220, 440, 880, blah, 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 blah. They're all the family of A. But the other sounds, the other frequencies that are in those that we can't quite hear as loud, but that are in there, are at that other ratio. So A110 has the sound of 110 in it. And then the next frequency that's in that sound is 220, which is another A. But then we've got 330 and 440 and 550. These other tones, 550 and 330 are not a part of A. They're other pitches. When we figure out what those pitches are, we get A, C sharp, and B. Those are the tones that are just naturally in the sound of A. When we play those three together, that's a major chord. The major chord is called the chord of nature because it comes from sound itself. It's not something that we decided, oh yeah, that one guy goofed and he happened to hit a good tone. So after a couple hundred years, we let it slide. It's because it was already in that sound. It existed within it. It's a harmonic of it. Now, have you ever seen inside the piano, like the hammers and the strings and stuff? Okay, so there's all these hammers resting on the strings. Those hammers, when you push down on a key, when you're not touching anything and they're not hitting any of the foot pedals, the hammers are all resting on the strings. When you push a key, the hammer comes up, whacks it, and then stays in the air until you let go of the key. Then it mutes it again. So if we take, on a piano, we take the key for like this E specifically, and we push it down super slow, you'll see is inside the piano, the hammer will come up, and if you're going slow enough, it'll come back toward the string, but it won't ever touch the string. And then it'll sit back up a little bit while you hold that key down, and you'll come over here and you'll whack the A string real hard, let it go, so now it's muting this one. I have to turn up for this. I have to point it right at it. This has to be a really good tune. What? If you watch this string, I will never touch that string. It's in there. The sound A, this string, is going through the air and causing this string to vibrate. So now try and hear that tone, that real faint thing, without me. I'm going to mute it. That's a little out of tune. I struck the string too hard. It feels like I'm making you imagine it. Like it's not like, oh, okay, that's kind of a mind trick. We were listening to the sound. Now I think I'm hearing it in there, but I swear to you, it's in there. Well, now I'm not muting it. So now this string is actually vibrating. But if I mute it so that only this tone is sounding, it's in there. That's what I think is so cool about how God designed music, is that it's almost like these hundreds of years of composing and deciding what sounded good and being acclimated to it, they were just already in the sound itself. That's what I think that's one of the coolest things ever. But
It's really beautiful.
yeah, like to me, it's a footprint of God's hand. That it's just typical of His ways to just give us all the tools without us realizing that they're in there until we think we're discovering it for ourselves. Yeah. So that's the bit on music. Yeah. Well, I wanted to do that anyway. I did that a little bit longer since I had the whole time really, but I wanted to do just like a real quick thing on like how you get acclimated to sound, and then, but really it's all from the sound. Yeah. Yeah. So there's completely separate teachings on James. Which wait, what time is it?
We're good. It's 11:45.
Okay. Cool. So then I'm just going to do the first half of this first bit. One of the things that was on my heart was to just teach on James, and it's basically just so I can pick a spot and go through it, and instead of like me picking like a topic and then looking in the Word for where it fits what my theory is or my thesis or whatever it is, I'd rather just go through the Word and see what it wants to reveal to me and to us through it. So the last one was okay. It was sort of, I don't know if you were here, Sarah, but like we did like the history and backstory on James and when it was written and why and all that. And that stuff's all right, but it's kind of not very fun for me. It's more fun to just get into the Word and see what the Word is telling us. But as a means of review, I did want to just briefly talk about when the book was written. So James was, most historians believe he was the brother of Jesus, the half-brother of Christ. Hardcore Jewish. In around 49 AD, there was this meeting where Paul, Peter, and James was probably present, where they decided to preach to the Gentiles and to let them in on this whole salvation thing. And James, the book, was probably one of the first books written in the Bible. It was written around 45 AD. So we're going to find later in like future teachings, we're going to find some spots where James sounds almost like Catholic, where it's like, Lord, show me your faith without your deeds. But I really don't think it is. I think it's complementary to the teachings of Paul. But it probably was written in response to Paul's teaching, even though Paul hadn't written any of his famous letters yet. He was out there preaching, and so I think James is writing, he's obviously writing to Jews, and he says that in verse 1. If we start in verse 1, I think Taylor has NIV, is that right? Okay, cool. But
Do you have NIV?
I have NIV and King James.
Okay.
Parallel.
And I've got New King James, so can someone read King James?
James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting.
Great. So right there, he's telling us, he's writing to Jews, to the 12 tribes scattered among the nations, greetings. And then we know that historically during that time, Christians, Jewish Christians included, were all being persecuted. Maybe even especially Jewish Christians, because they were also not wanted by their own people. So there, that's the simple stuff. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Now, what is James saying is basically the rest of the teachings, which is the fun part. So we're going to start in verse 2, and just read verse 2, first you, and then Taylor, and then I, please.
My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations.
Just verse 2
Just
in
two.
NIV. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds.
What was the word for trials in King James?
Temptations.
Temptations. That's excellent. So in the New King James, it also uses trials. That's not the book. Not that one. But later, hopefully today I'll get there. I wanted to basically use the two words interchangeably. Trial and temptations, they're kind of like a MasterCard symbol. They're like all temptations are trials. Maybe not all trials are temptations. Though. Trials can be other ways, like adversity. But a lot of, so anyway, they share a lot of similar stuff, but they're not necessarily the same word. But my point is that sentence, consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials or temptations of many kinds. That's one of the dumbest things you can say out loud. That's ridiculous. But fortunately, there's context. It goes on to say, go ahead and go through 4.
Knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience, but let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing.
So King James Bible to me sounds like pirate talk. There's all these ye's and these and thous that I just don't get. NIV, I like the English of it better, but sometimes it's a little too loosely translated. So here's New King James. My brethren, count it all joy whenever you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. In NIV, it's consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And perseverance must finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. So it's kind of like cliche stuff. Like, yeah, just keep your chin up. Or is it that which doesn't kill me makes me stronger? It's like, all right, okay, so basically like wear a smile and these trials will make you tougher. That's cool. So if we think of trials of many kinds, I wanted to use the analogy of like, one day I was working, I've never been in a cold weather climate. I never lived in a cold weather climate at all.
Until now?
Until now, yes. I lived in Arizona where it's crazy hot. I've shoveled snow twice in my life, counting once at Joe and Stacy's house. And I come here to work outside, and so I Google the weather every morning. It says 73 and sunny, and this is in September when that cold snap hit, and it was like snowing crazy, and like I had never seen this happen before, but I was working and I could see my hands stop moving, like they wouldn't function anymore, and it scared the crap out of me. But to me, that was a trial. It was a little one, but I wanted to use the analogy of water because there's all these like old Japanese poems that samurais used to write that involve water, and their metaphor for water is sort of like trouble, calamity. Yes, that comes later. So, no. So one of their sayings is, whenever faced with trial, when one is faced with calamity, it is not enough for one to simply say that one is not at all flustered. One must dash forward bravely and with joy toward an irrational death. It is as if the saying, the more water, the higher the boat. So there's like more honor in greater opponents, or more just, yeah. Okay, so then the next bit, what's that, 5 through 8?
If you lack any wisdom, or if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. Through 8?
Yeah.
But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
So here's the other side of the piece here, is that we're given this trial, and we're supposed to deal with that in perseverance, deal with it in patience. But we're only human, so we need to ask in faith for that. When we ask, we believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. So Andrew Peoples taught on, I think, that verse, and he was talking about basically praying in faith. And I think that's a real important piece of, calamity, basically, is praying in faith for the benefits of it, for the part that we should consider pure joy. But I think there's also an analogy of the wave. Waves, yeah, they're blown and tossed by the wind, and we're given this image of a fickle, faithless person, but waves themselves are very powerful. Has anyone ever been held down by a wave, like surfing or out in the ocean? Ever? No? Yeah. There's nothing, I don't care who you are. Ronda Rousey couldn't stand up in a wave that's holding you down. You just hold your breath and wait. When it lets you up, you get up. They're one of the most powerful forces out there. So I think of that as a heed to warning of praying without faith, or being just in general fickle. That double-minded men are unstable. There's tons of verses about that in general in the Word. I think it's it's a good thing to look at it as an encouragement to pray in faith and to act in faith, but it's also good to watch out for how dangerous it can be. And you forget that. So the samurai also have a saying that's what is it? Well, okay, so there's one that's like when faced with, or there's much that can be learned from a rainstorm. When one encounters sudden showers, one runs quickly along the road and passes under the eaves of houses. When you do this, you still get wet. When our mind is resolved from the beginning, our actions are resolved, though we still gain the same soaking. This understanding extends to everything. So, and another thing they used to talk about is how they said that samurai should be so resolved from the beginning that should a samurai's head be cut off, he should still be able to perform one last task. So there's this idea of a very strong resolve that I see through this passage from 1 to 8. When we're faced with this calamity, we've got two options. We can crumble in our faith, or we can become resolved in it and ask for, or if we're lacking in it, ask for it and believe and not doubt. If we do that, we'll receive a crown of life. That's in verse 12.
Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him.
That's why I like that King James used temptation instead of trials. In the King James, it's clear he's talking about the same scenario here. The same thing that could produce this holding you down kind of wave can also produce a crown of life if we use it properly. And this is where I came up with all that samurai crap, because it sounds to me like MMA. Do you guys watch Friends?
Yeah.
Did you ever see the one where Monica was dating like millionaire who wanted to become an MMA fighter?
Yes.
Okay. He's like, don't worry. Master Keto taught me to use my opponent's size and strength against him. And Ross is like, well, then that guy is screwed. He's huge. Well, that's a concept of MMA, is to use somebody else's energy against them. So when they're coming at you, redirect their energy and put them into the floor or put them into a wall or whatever. And that's kind of what I think of with these first 8 verses is when there is this trial or this temptation of many kinds. If we can use it to get the crown of life, that's sort of like, yeah, it's like a reversal in MMA. So the next section, I think, is talking about the opposite of that. What happens when we well, okay, so actually there's a part in between. So let's go 9 through 11.
Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted, but the rich in that he is made low. Because as the flower of the grass he shall pass away. For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, but it withereth the grass, and the flower thereof falleth, and the grace of the fashion of it perisheth. So also shall the rich man fade away in his ways. Blessed is the man. Oh,
No, just look. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then will you read it in English or NIV?
Yes, I will read it in English. Starting at is 11 or
9 through 11, yeah.
The brother in humble circumstances ought to take pride in his high position, but the one who is rich should take pride in his low position, because he will pass away like a wild flower. For the sun rises with scorching heat and withers the plant. Its blossom falls and its beauty is destroyed. In the same way, the rich man will fade away even while he goes about his business.
Okay. What? That's like Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think the NIV uses the word poor, and King James and also New King James uses the word low.
Mm-hmm.
But both these two opposite circumstances dudes are given the same advice.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at that, I look at, okay, well, do I consider myself rich or poor? Well, I consider myself very rich. I have a loving wife. I've got a kid on the way, warm home. I've got water on tap. I've got food. It's incredible. But at the same time, you know, I can't take her to dinner willy-nilly. I got to save up for that. No, and I am rubbish at organizing ideas. I'm weak in a lot of areas. I'm poor in a lot of areas. Here's where I wish Andrew was here. He doesn't be like, Andrew is poor in chess. I am rich in chess. But that's not really the point I'm getting at. The point is we're all both rich and poor in different areas of our lives. We're rich in faith, we're rich in love, we're rich in things. Maybe we're poor in guitar skills or whatever it is, you know. So this applies to everyone, whatever it is. But what's cool is even if these were like, you know, the 1% and the 99% that we're talking about, even if these were completely mutually exclusive groups of people, and we weren't all rich and poor all at the same time, even if that was the case, the advice is the same for both. It's the verb to rejoice. So no matter what our headspace is, if I'm looking at my ability to draw pictures, an area in which I'm poor at, and my work requires me to do that, which it does sometimes for making signs, and I'm like, oh great, the sign's gonna suck, I am to rejoice. And that's what unifies them. Is that we're no matter who you are, Jew, Greek, slave, free, rich or poor, we're all supposed to rejoice in the Lord. That's rad. Okay, so then 12 through 15 is where so in the first 8 verses we saw like how to choose the correct path and use the opponent's energy against them, get benefits out of trials and calamity. Now in 12 through 15, we're going to see what happens when we do the wrong thing. Sarah, would you mind reading 12 through 15?
Mm-hmm. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then, when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death.
Yeah, so 12 is sort of the like pivot. When I read this, you know, 1 through 8 was the the master so and so teaching you how to use your opponent's energy against you. 12 is where he says because you will be rewarded with the crown of life, and then 13 through 15 is the danger of that wave that can hold you down, which is Taylor. Would you read it in English? 13 through 15.
Yeah. When tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me, for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each one is tempted when by his own evil desire he is dragged away and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death.
So the point here is clear that temptation is not of God, it's of man. It's something we can probably all agree on. For me, evidence of that is how different temptation is for different people. Temptation for me is probably beer, because I'm allergic to beer, and it's like, I know I shouldn't do it, but oh, it's so delicious. It tastes like such good bread. That sounds awful. She didn't even like the smell of it. Whereas gelato is her like, ooh, you know. That's so radically different because it's not something that exists like the sound from music, you know, that's not just already in it. It's something that is in us. It's man's sinful nature.
That's good catch.
And then, let's see, here's, can we read 16 through 18?
Do not err, my beloved brethren. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. It cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Of his own will begat he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures.
Taylor, will you read 17 and 18 in NIV?
Just 17 and 18?
Yes, please.
Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like the shifting shadows. He chose to give us birth through the word of truth, that we might be a kind of first fruits of all he created.
So every good and perfect gift is from above. God doesn't make crap. And then the last sentence, that we might be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. So you combine those two ideas, that God doesn't make bad things to begin with, and then of the things that he's made, we are a first fruits of his creatures. That's incredible. That's like Peter, but you are a royal nation, a holy priesthood, a good and perfect gift. Like we're elevated. Like that's so incredible. Yeah. I would recommend memorizing that passage. And I had an older wiser brother one time recommend to me, like whatever it is that you take in a day, whether it's, you know, in your devotion, if you're taking, like I'm usually a chapter a day kind of deal. I was like, well, that's cool, but like, sometimes read the whole book as if you had just gotten it in the mail, like you were the early church, you know, like we did with James last time. That's good. It's good to mix up the quantity. Sometimes it's good to just take one verse and do that for the whole month and memorize it and just meditate on it. And that's the main thing on your mind. And when he was explaining that stuff, he would say you could take, you know, like, so where's that verse for me? It's in 18, or yeah, I would take, let's see where, it's a big long sentence. But yeah, I mean, if I were to do it properly, I would probably take 17 through 18, and then I would focus each day on a different word. The first day I would focus on every good gift, and every perfect gift is from above. It comes down from the Father. Focus on what that every and how that colors the rest of the verse. And then I would focus on every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. And focus on how that colors the rest of the verse. But I just think it's so important for us to remember our identities and that who we really are. I think that's the piece of it, of the samurai being able to cut off the head of, being able to perform one last task with its head cut off, the last act of defiance, because of such resolve. I think we should keep that resolve of pointing our compass to the true north by remembering our identities as royal nation, holy priesthood, that we are part of every good and perfect gift, and that we are the first fruits of these creatures. And that's as far as what we can get today. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. I really like James because he's so hardcore. He's not like,
Yeah.
I mean, Paul's cool. Paul's really great, but like James is just like he'll straight break people off. I don't know. He's kind of like blunt.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mom.
Yeah, that's exactly how I think of it. Like blunt to the point of rude. Like this is who you are. This is what you should do. Okay. Yeah.
I thought I was falling over for a second. I was like, no.
You glad what?
I'm glad I finally heard that music thing. He always told me he had some cool music things,
Yeah.
and I still have to hear it.
So is that where overtones come from?
Harmonics is the word, but yes, it's a similar word to overtones. Yeah.
But so then what are overtones then? How do they?
Overtones, harmonics are overtones, but not all overtones are harmonics. Overtones can be, okay, so remember when I was, no, that's all unplugged, but remember when I was singing Amazing Grace and I was showing unison? I was singing the same pitches, right? But if you had your eyes closed, you could easily tell which was the guitar and which was because of overtones. It's sort of like cello sounds different than guitar, more so than just the bowing. You know, like even if somebody were plucking a cello, it would sound very different than me plucking a guitar because of overtones.
So even though you're playing the same notes on a cello and a guitar, they just,
Right.
the overtones is basically the difference in the instrument itself.
Overtones define timbre.
Oh, okay.
What's timbre?
Timbre is even though I was playing the same pitch.
It's like a resonator. At least it is in theater. Like when we talk about timbre in theater, it's like if you're really nasally, or if you're talking from your stomach, or like.
That's correct, but in music we would go, if you're really nasally, or you're really nasal, or you're not really nasally, but you're still up here. You're still hitting the same thing, but the timbre is what's different. You're even putting it up here, or you're not putting it up there, but you're still speaking in the same way.
Same.
Yeah.
Frequency.
Timbre is how you can tell the difference between a plucked cello playing the same notes as a plucked mandolin or whatever the other thing is.
I just remembered, was thinking in choir a long time ago, things were like perfectly tuned to hear that, like the high pitched note above it. You were listening, you could hear it if it was
Yeah.
tuned.
So you could call them overtones. Because, I mean,
That's-
harmonics are overtones.
That's just what they call them, that you
Right.
could hear the overtones.
Right.
If you were.
It's probably also because singing is so visual, like you have to kind of imagine stuff. So like when you call it an overtone, it helps you. 'Cause they are always way high.
Yeah, it was just like this high pitched sound that you could hear
Yeah.
above the note that we were actually.
And everything's got to be in tune for that. Yeah.
Right, and that's what, and that's what they were making us listen for in choir director. Is that like, okay, we really had
And
it
you can
tuned
feel it.
correctly, you could hear.
You can hear that, but you can
You
also
really
feel
can
it.
hear
It will resonate like in different
Mhm.
parts of your head and body. So
Is that how you get chills?
Maybe.
maybe, yeah.
I remember I was in choir through all of elementary and middle school, and if we sounded like really, really good, like I could tell that like I was singing better than they would normally sing because I could feel the difference when I was singing. Like you could just like, that's right, you could like feel the like everybody's voices resonating.
Mhm.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Opposite of what we usually experience.
Here, that's right. It is.
Well, I thought it was funny too, talking about the progression of music, because our first song, we started out in unison, and then our next step was going up and off. Then that's where we went, it's like we started out unison, and then we like took the next step.
Yeah.
and had to-
Okay, I'm gonna turn this off. See you later.